Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome to Let's Start Story on What If Naruto Overpowered Shinobi of Destiny and Had Secret Partner with Tenten. So do 4 blue hearts comment. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video, and please share with your friends and watch till end. Also check out Patreon, for I have upload Naruto X Rias and Akino uncensored spicy version, link in description. Today was a sunny day in Konoha. The birds were singing and the clouds were just right, milky white with a bit of fluff to them. Well, Shikamaru would claim the clouds are not plentiful enough to cloud gaze. He found this troublesome. Civilians were out doing errands, gathering the dinner for the day and picking up their children from the daycare conveniently located in the market district. Ninja were out doing missions, or if an unlucky genin named Iruka, doing boring D-ranked missions that involved catching cats, gardening and other meaningless tasks. A certain Chunin named Kurenai had just completed her first B-ranked mission with utmost success. She was currently celebrating at the local dance club. It was late in the afternoon or early evening, as some would say. Others would say it's around dinner time, and one small boy is complimenting on what happened today and what he should do. This boy was at the average height for his age, as he was 6 years old as of today. The date is October 10th, and it is this little boy's birthday. His blonde hair glistening in the sun, and his big blue eyes, showing happiness and giddiness, are his main features. His whisker marks, a rather unique trait, is something he is easily identified by. The orange jumpsuit he was wearing, although it left much to be desired for. Naruto, as the boy was called, was thinking to himself, what should I do with this cool and yet useful information? It's so terrifying I can't even begin to imagine. His thoughts shuddered at when he recalled what happened earlier today. Flashback. Naruto was walking along the crowded streets of Konoha. Today was his birthday and he knew it. He was out to celebrate, maybe get himself a nice toy. He also knew that today was the day that the Kyuubi was killed. For some reason, the citizens seemed to hate him a lot. He did not know why, but he knew that he would never submit to their hate. Showing emotions is a weakness had he learned to control and keep under tight wraps. Naruto spent time browsing shops, going unnoticed thanks to the scarf he decided to wear today. Luckily, today was a chilly day and required somewhat warmer cloths like a scarf. The scarf hid his whisker marks, which the leaf nins used to identify Naruto. It was around lunchtime and Naruto was eating some rice balls. Food tastes great, I love food. And it's the best, he was thinking to himself. He looked back at his worn watch on his wrist and noticed the time was 15 minutes past 1. He decided to head out and get some new clothes. Luckily the Hokage had given him tons of money for him to spend for his birthday. He headed out to a store that was called Shinobi Style. He walked inside the shop and went up the nearest salesman. Sir, Naruto asked the man at the counter with a grin on his face. The unknown man looked at him. I would like some clothes, mister. I need them. My mommy gave me this money to use. I plan on being the best ninja ever. The salesman eyed him for a moment, as if trying to figure out if this was genuine or not. He nodded and told Naruto, that is a nice goal to work for, young man. All right, young sir, I will take you to the children's section. Right this way, please. Naruto followed the man through aisles and aisles of clothes. He noticed all the colors and styles such as fishnets, cargos, mesh, and cotton, as well as leather jackets were available. He noticed an entire wall dedicated to the standard Chunin and Junin vests. Most of the colors he saw were black. He decided that he would get mostly black clothes with some blues and reds. They stopped at a sign titled Children's Section. Young sir, began the salesman. This is the children's section, stated the salesman. Well duh, it says that you bought a salesman. I can read, thought Naruto to himself, as if it were the obvious. Please select the clothing you would like to buy and bring them to me. I will then tell you the price. If you can afford it, of course. Naruto got a tad excited at this and went diving in the racks and aisles of clothing. He literally swam around them like some little fish in the big blue pond. After doing that for around 5 minutes because of the annoyed look on the salesman, he decided to get to the picking of his clothing. He walked over to the racks and began to pluck cloths from them. He picked out 3 pairs of blue cargo pants, a black vest that was like the Chunin ones, and he also picked out various undershirts in greens, blacks, blues and reds. One can never have enough colors. As long as they are dark. Naruto then noticed a small section with masks in them. With my whisker marks, I could definitely use one of those. Naruto ran over to the masks, with Hai's clothes being dragged across the ground. He picked out 5 black masks, just in case they got ripped or something. Naruto waddled over to the salesman and said, "Here's my choices, sir." It was not very hard to pick them out in that fun pile of clothing. The salesman eyed the clothing for a second as if he was judging Naruto right this minute. "Alright then, this will cost you exactly 600 ryu. Because of your purchase, we will throw in 2 free black wrist guards," said the salesman, in a ridiculously overused business voice. "Yada. I get free stuff is always awesome." The entire shop heard that particular statement. Naruto took his clothing and headed out back into the market district. He walked along the well-beaten path until he arrived at his house, apartment 2C, which was located on the 2nd floor in the poverty district. The said apartment building looked run down and in need of much repairs. Boards were used to cover up holes and graffiti was everywhere along the walls and fences. Guard dogs are a common thing to have in this ghetto-like area. Luckily for Naruto, he was the only tenant in his humble abode. He pulled out his key from his pocket and unlocked the door. Walking inside, he set his new clothes on the floor and went to his closest. The horror inside was the abnormal amount of orange jumpsuits. He immediately took all the orange jumpsuits, took them to his furnace and proceeded to throw them in there. Kami-sama, I hated those things. Why in the world did I even get them? They will do a better job providing heat for the next few days. Naruto put on his new clothing and looked in the mirror. Damn, I look cool. I can't wait show off to the kids at the playground. It is going to make me better than Sasuke for sure. Naruto headed for the door and walked outside. He locked his door and proceeded down the road, unknowing that his life will be changed forever. End flashback. The boy was swinging on a swing, thinking about what happened next. That certainly was the most exciting part of the day. I will never forget this birthday ever in my life. It is certainly the best I have ever had, even if I am only 6 years old. What happened after that though is something I never would have imagined. Flashback. Naruto decided that now was a good time to prepare dinner, as his stomach begged him to do so with obnoxious growling sounds. So he walked out of his house, while looking the door and went down the stairs onto the empty, cruddy dirt road. He headed towards the market district again looking for a nice restaurant to spoil himself in. He came along a well-established place named Ichiraku Ramen. Ramen sounds like a good idea, even though I have never had the stuff before. He popped inside and went up to the counter. Hey old man, I'd like an order of ramen please. Alright young man, your order is coming up. Naruto sat around for about 3 minutes. When his ramen was done he began to eat it. This tastes good, but I like rice balls better. Plus I need to eat healthy to be a kick-ass shinobi. After Naruto was done eating he left the building while thanking the old man and his daughter. What he saw outside as a sight that made him snicker at the foolishness of the civilians. They were pissed drunk. The party was getting quite big and out of control now as the entire town was celebrating the defeat of the dreaded demon, Kyuubi. People were also rude and downright mean too, thoroughly drunk from the copious amounts of sake that they have consumed. Naruto walked along the path dodging out of the way of 2 drunken young men. He assumed that they were in their 20s. One of the drunken fools noticed Naruto and stumbled on over to them. Hey kid, the drunk spoke in a very hoarse, drunken-like voice. You ever heard of a kid named Uzumaki Naruto? At hearing this Naruto's mind went into overdrive. Should I tell him that is me? Or should I not tell him? Decisions, how I hate to make tough decisions. I think I will not to tell him it is me he is talking to, I might learn something cool. Yay, I have heard of him. Seems like a brat from what I have heard, answered Naruto in a quite believing voice. You have? Good. You should avoid that brat for he carries something evil. It is being more evil than hell and Satan himself. Spat out the drunk, like it was some sort of disease. Oh, what does he carry old man? He carries a great demon fox. It was said to be killed young man, but it was a lie. Told the drunk, in what was supposedly the best storytelling voice he could come up with. He carries the Kyuubi. Avoid him. Despise him, for that makes him the demon, but do not speak of it, the Hokage forbids it. He loves the child, we the villagers and the ninja hate him. Monsters should not be allowed to be kept alive. They should be put down like the bastards that they are. Naruto widened his eyes at this but recovered as quick as a 6-year-old could, which is a tad slow. He put on the most believable scared look he could and answered back at the man with, "He really does. That's so scary. Mommy will protect me, yes she will." The drunk giggled stupidly at this and asked, "She will Is she cute?" That got the drunken punched in the face by a 6-year-old, which knocked him out. Said drunk when he woke up swore to never piss off a 6-year-old ever again. "I have the Kyuubi inside of me. Holy shit. This must be the reason why the villagers hate me. Hate is not a good place for me to grow up in. I need to leave, but how?" Naruto thought to himself for a moment, while walking to the park. The park offers peace and quiet for people to think, including Naruto. He walked up the swing and started to think on what happened today. End flashback. Naruto lightly pushed the swing to start a small swinging motion. What should I do now? I have reviewed everything that has happened of importance today. Naruto put his fingers on his chin and rubbed it. This was a famous think-ing position that he saw others using but he rarely used it himself. I wonder if I can contact the infamous Kyuubi inside of me. Is he even awake? I wonder what I could do to meet him. Naruto SLOWL. Got off the swing and headed back home. While walking, he thought about what he could do to meet the Kyuubi and he was hit with inspiration. The Kyuubi is inside of me, maybe I could meditate and enter my mind sort of speak. I could then maybe find the Kyuubi. At this thought Naruto ran home as fast as he could. Upon arriving at his door, he quickly unlocked his door with an odd afterthought. Why do we have locks in a village full of ninja? Kinda dumb thing to have if you ask me. It wouldn't be hard to sneak into someone's house as a shinobi, Baka Shinobis. He quickly went into the small living room and sat down on the rug on the old and quite moldy floor. He got into the lotus position and began to meditate in what he assumed was the correct meditation style. He began to drift into a tranquil state. Well, he could have been falling asleep, he mused, but he hoped it was a tranquil state. Eventually he found himself in a sewer. What the hell? A sewer? I do not have a sewer in my house, damn it. He mused for a second about this and came to a conclusion. Maybe I reached my mind, I should explore, although I should make my mind more pretty next time. A sewer, geesh. Naruto walked along the sewers, noting the dripping water and ugly interior. He planned to make this better if he could. He sincerely hoped he could, it was in bad need of an extreme makeover. He climbed down some stairs until came upon a giant cage with a piece of paper with the kanji for seal attached to it. This must be where the Kyuubi is. He approached the gate and yelled out, "Hey furball. Get your furry red ass out here. I need to talk with you. Who dares disturb my eternal slumber? Speak now, you insignificant mortal. I don't have all damn day to talk with flesh bags," the loud voice roared out. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto. And this flesh bag is going to need your help." Naruto watched as large fox appeared. He had 9 tails with big blood red eyes, in fact everything about him was red. Damn, this fox really is obsessed with red. He needs to get some blues in him. The Kyuubi looked thoughtful for a moment and replied, "My jailer So the flesh bag, you need my help. Why in Satan's me should I help a punitive monkey like you? Because, if I die, you die, and I know you would hate to die. We both know I won't grow strong in this village. I need to leave. If I do not grow strong, then I will surely die on a mission." A pathetically easy one too. Naruto looked thoughtful for a minute. We can't have that, can we? Damn it, flesh bag, you have a good point, even if I despise bine. Blackmailed by the spawn of a bigger flesh bag, grumbled out the Kyuubi. I guess I should help you in my survival, and my survival depends on you. I will grant you slightly increased eyesight and ears. It will be enough that you can see farther than others and ear about as good as those smelly ass dog people, the Inuzukas. The Kyuubi thought for a second, as if he wished what he said was not true. It will not cause you any pain, unfortunately. I will be training you. I can't have my flesh bag being killed by other retarded flesh bags. Plus I get to cause as much pain to use as I possibly can. This is going to be so much fun. For me to watch, that is. Sweet. I am going to be trained by the legendary Kyuubi no Kitsune, already known as the furball, the fox with no opposable thumbs. pointed out Naruto in such a childish yet intelligent remark. Kyuubi looked at his paws for a second, realized he was right with only having 4 fingers. Curse you, miniature flesh bag. I will not tolerate being insulted. For every insult you do, I will make you run around this pathetic village twice. Naruto shuddered inside his mind at the thought of this as well as the empathized word, make. Well, flesh bag, I decided to call you Kit. Naruto looked up in confusion while asking, why should I be called Kit? I'm not exactly a fox, you know. You like to remain of that with the flesh bag jab. Because Kit, you are a little one and I protect you, even if it is reluctantly. Thus you are technically my Kit. Every other human though is still a flesh bag in my giant book of hates. Naruto SNIC. Curd at the thought of anyone trying to read the Kyuubi's giant book of hates. Now that is out of the way, training will start tomorrow, so get your ass out of here and get ready for the big day tomorrow. Naruto was immediately shoved out of his mind and back into reality. Well, that was interesting. I should get some rest, big day tomorrow. I wonder what the Kyuubi has up his sleeve. With that thought in mind, Naruto crawled into bed, while setting his alarm for 5 a.m. He went under the covers and fell asleep, thinking of the idea of getting out of this wretched village. Naruto was the cage of the village he founded, being loved by all with lots of chibi Narutos running around. His wife was just about to kiss him when, beep, bah, I was having such a good dream too, damn alarm clock. I won't miss that, Naruto grumbled out, while reaching to turn it off. Naruto walked over to his closest and pulled out his outfit. He proceeded to put it on when he realized that he had no idea how the Kyuubi was going to train him. Huh, it seems Furball won't be able to train me after all. What a lying son of a baka, I can hear you. Naruto was startled by the sudden appearance of Kyuubi's voice. If you keep thinking that I am a furball, I will make you run laps, remember? It'll be fun, so keep calling me that, growled out the Kyuubi in the most sadistic voice that Naruto had ever heard. What I meant to say was, stuttered out Naruto in weak voice. I do not want to hear your excuses that one of your monkeys made up. Get your ass out to a training field, particularly one that is far away from the village. Find one that is in a forest, ordered out the Kyuubi in the best drill sergeant voice he could muster, which was in Naruto's opinion, very damn good. Naruto quick. Kaylee got finished getting dressed and headed out the door. He locked the door on his way out and jumped over the ledge. Landing on his feet, he sprinted out to the nearest training ground he could think of. Arriving at the training ground, he was glad that no one was there. He sat down on a log and waited for the Kyuubi to tell him what he needs to do. Good, you are finally here, what took you so long, Kit? Naruto grumbled at being chastised because he wasn't fast yet. Anyways, I assume the flesh bags have taught you all the hand seals already, right? At seeing Naruto's nod, he started speaking again. Good. Because you are going to practice them until I think your sealing speed is proficient. What? How am I going to get my sealing speed fast? Stand here and go through them all repeatedly. No. You are going to run around Konoha going through them repeatedly. At hearing this, Naruto bugged his eyes out. Nani? That is not fun. I am also going to add some weight to your entire body. It is going to feel like everything is double what you currently weigh. So have fun, kid, and check back when you're done. I've got a surprise for you. What the hell? This is not cool. I don't nt the extra. Naruto suddenly stopped speaking due to the fact that Kyuubi had just added the extra weight. This caused Naruto to drop to the ground as gravity forced him so. Damn it, Mr. Fu. Our ball of the underworld here just couldn't make the weights a bit lighter. Naruto complained for about a minute until he finally was able to get up. Alrighty then, I better head towards the wall and start running. Naruto trudged towards the wall, eventually getting used to the weights. He greeted the Chunin guard, who looked a bit drunk. Tisk, idiot Chunin is gonna get in major trouble today. Naruto began to run while practicing his seals. Rat, ox, tiger, hare, dragon, serpent, horse, ram, monkey, bird, dog, boar. He repeated this mantra for hours in his head, running as fast as he could around Konoha. On his 10th lap, he started to tire out. On his 12th, he was completely worn out and collapsed on the wall. Panting, Naruto began to stumble down the stairs and back towards the training area. He lazily checked his watch and noticed it was only 7 a.m. Nani. I thought I had been running way longer than that. Little did he know that his alarm on his clock was broken and he actually woke up at 4 a.m. Once Naruto arrived at the training area, he tried to contact the Kyuubi. Right, how do I contact Furballs? I looked in the phone book, but his number was not listed. Baka Kit, all you need do is direct a thought at me. I am really going to have to up your IQ while you sleep. That is a bonus you will be getting. When you go to bed tonight I will work on increasing your IQ. So you are at least much smarter than the average flesh bag. Kyuubi said this in an interesting evil-like voice. Well, that sounds like a good deal, but what else? I can hear the evil laughter in your voice, pointed out Naruto, while making a funny face as if it would offend Kyuubi. Oh, but you see, I want you to repeat this sequence of seals and say Kuchio's no jutsu, Kitsune. Why should I do that? Naruto was a bit suspicious but did not voice out his opinion. Just do it, you pile of meat, otherwise I will eat your children. Naruto shrugged his shoulders, did the correct hand seals and called out, Kuchio's no jutsu, Kitsune. A puff of smoke appeared, a quite small one in fact. When the smoke cleared, a small fox was present there. Naruto blinked, and blinked again. What the hell is this? This thing. It's so small, what is the point of it? Complained Naruto loudly, not aware the fox looked up at him. Foolish mortal, it is I the great Kyuubi no Kitsune. Yipped the fox, with a small childish voice. Trying to be evil. Naruto just stared, sweat dropped and started to laugh real hard. Holy hell, you're tiny. Ha 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 ha. This just made my day. This is the great Kyuubi no Kitsune. The tiny ass puffball of cuteness and love. I am not cute, nor am I cuddly and lovable. I am the great demon of lore, killing everything in my path. The Kyuubi paused, realizing that his voice did not sound evil. I never said you were cuddly. I just outsmarted you, Baka Kitsune. Naruto went into a fit of laughter and pointed at the Kyuubi, calling him Chibi. Enough. Stop laughing. Now kid, or you will never make it out of this village. Naruto immediately stopped laughing at this, straightened his shoulders and looked down at the fox. Let me explain. I am a summoned creature, and I will disappear when I run out of chakra, which won't happen until dinner time. This is sadly my permanent form. I won't grow any bigger so I can kill more bags of meat with flesh attached to them. Good, your goal is to basically beat me at hide and seek. You hide and I try and find you. Your goal is to get to this tree, without being caught. The Kyuubi looked at Naruto like a ravaged animal. Good luck, have fun, do die. The Kyuubi turned around and began counting. Naruto sprinted into the forest and hid inside a hollow tree. Ready or not, here I come, Kukuku. Naruto kept his eyes and ears peeled, waiting for the Kyuubi to find him. He gradually leapt from tree to tree, trying to keep himself from being caught in the wind's direction. He kept himself in the dark, minimized movement as much as he could. He was nearing the clearing, almost slipping on a few branches, when suddenly, he was tackled to the ground by Kyuubi. Hey, you will have to do better than that, kid. This kind of game continued for 1 week. Naruto also practiced kunai and shuriken throwing. Kyuubi would force him to practice this at night. He kept ranting that the kunai could be used to end fights quickly, without have to waste energy. He would run in the morning, practicing his hand seals. He also learned how to climb trees using chakra. This caused for some laughs to the Kyuubi because he got to watch Naruto fall on his ass the first time he tried to walk up the tree. Kyuubi only taught him one jutsu, which was ninpu, Kujushuin ninja arts, item sealing. This jutsu would seal items inside a scroll, so Naruto could travel much easier. Naruto saw the usefulness in this jutsu for going on trips and missions. To release the items, all he had to do was form the hand seals and say kai. He played hide and seek with Kyuubi every day, and did not win until the last day, October 17th. This was a small victory for Naruto and a good thing because he now knew that he was increasing in strength, stealth and speed. Today was the day when the merchants were getting ready to leave from the Kyuubi festival. Naruto was walking home from the store after picking up some kunai and shuriken when he heard some merchants talking. Hey Kenji, we will be eating out on our little caravan in 4 hours to Kurigakure, we need to get the supplies ready. Yay, I know Hikuijin. The grunts of our little business are currently getting them. We set out at noon. Naruto heard all he needed to. This is your chance to leave, take it now. You will be better off in another ninja village, replied the Kyuubi in an order-issuing voice. Naruto nodded his head and rushed on home to pack his bag with belongings. He was going to become a stowaway. Once he finished packing his cloths, some food and water as well as ninja supplies. He grabbed a piece of paper and began to write to the Hokage. Dear Hokage-sama, I am going away, and I will not be coming back. Hopefully the village will be happier without me. I am leaving on my own. I think it is for the best that I do. Good luck in the future, old man, and come Chunin exams, you may see me again. Uzumaki Naruto. Satisfied with the letter, he headed back to where the caravan was. Once he arrived, he went under the only genjutsu that he knew, Henge transform. He changed himself into an innocent-looking bystander. He snuck into the caravan, which had boxes and crates littered about. He stuck his pack into an empty crate and changed into a crate himself. The caravan started to move and Naruto heard the gates of Konoha open. He felt the jerk of a small speed increase and the closing of the gates. His lost thought before he left Konoha was, I wonder where I will end up. I hope it is a great place, this is the beginning of my new and improved life. Once the gates were closed, Naruto cancelled the henge. He deemed it safe to be this way while the caravan was moving. Knowing that this trip was most likely going to be a bit boring, he actually brought some books with him. I can't believe I am actually going to read books, URRGH, what in the world got over me? Naruto mused this to himself for a while but finally cracked open the book. The book was titled Shinobi Wars. And it was a recap of all the wars recording in shinobi history as well as tactics one can use during wartime. Naruto flipped the page to number and read, Dear reader, thank you for purchasing this book. I may suggest although that you practice the games of Go or chess with a friend before reading this book. Those games help the mind develop fast and slow decision-making skills, which are needed to understand this book. Arigato. Nara Shirma. Naruto pondered this for a whole 5 seconds. He knew exactly who he was going to challenge and go. Oh furball, come out wherever you are. We are going to play some Go in our mind, won't this be fun? Why does Kami-sama hate me so? Oh yay, forgot, I'm a demon. Kyuubi thought to himself for a second, now realizing that his trip won't be so boring after all. Alright kid, we will play Go, but be afraid, very afraid, for I will kick your ass at this. Naruto looked a bit riffled at someone actually saying that his is going to be so-called kicked. Huh, I know I'm smarter than you are. You are just like a teddy bear, ready to be cuddled by a 4-year-old girl, who slobbers all over you. I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Naruto looked proud out this insult, thinking it's the best thing ever. Kit, that was pathetic. Try using this line, why don't you go blow your brains out, you've got nothing to lose. That kid is the proper way to insult someone. Remember that and remember it well. Much bickering went on when these two played Go. Kyuubi pretty much kicked Naruto's ass, constantly. Naruto though, knew he was improving. At first he was getting his behind handed to him in 2 minutes, but eventually it grew to 5 minutes then even 10 minutes. Kit, you suck at this game. I am going to beat strategy INTO your brain if it's the last thing I do. Faye, well I will get better, gonna need it as a shinobi. Naruto felt the caravan suddenly stop. Quickly forming the hand seals for henge, he changed back into the crate in the far corner. While as a crate he thought to himself, it has not even been a day yet, why would we be stopping anytime soon? That's when Naruto heard a roaring sound, as a battle cry. He quickly dehanged and looked outside. What he saw, was not a sight a 6-year-old should be seeing. Bodies were scattered everywhere. He looked up and saw bandits attacking the guards to this caravan and sadly they were winning. He watched as their fists met in fury, defending each other's life. Naruto watched as the green-haired man went for an uppercut on the bandit. The bandit dodged rapidly, with dust flying everywhere. He then unsheathed his black katana and swiftly went in for a low chop for the legs. The traitor jumped, kicked the bandit in the face which sent that particular bandit to the ground to eat dust. Unfortunately for that traitor, another bandit snuck up behind him. Using the axe in his hand, he went for a deadly strike horizontally. The traitor did not even notice, as his torso was detached from his body. Blood splattered everywhere as the man screamed in agony for a second, and he died instantly. Naruto was scared, and he knew it. He just witnessed his first murder and he had no idea what to do. He was trembling inside, afraid of being caught. Sadly for Naruto, the bandit turned around and saw him. With bloodlust evident in the eyes of the bandit, he charged at the kid. Naruto's eyes widened. He was frozen in fear. He knew he was going to die. He just about closed his eyes when the Kyuubi yelled in his mind. "Kit, snap out of it. Get your ass to your kunai pouch and kill that bandit. You are going to die if you don't, and you can't die now." Kyuubi's voice snapped Naruto out of the frozen fear. Naruto got into his fighting stance at a quick pace, faster than the poor bandit could see. He quickly went for a kunai and brought it out like a pro. The bandit was closing in and quite fast, not realizing the kid had a weapon. Without even thinking of the repercussions, Naruto threw the kunai with deadly accuracy. He silently thanked the Kyuubi for ruthlessly training him in kunai and shuriken throwing. The kunai whizzed through the air with high speed. And lodged itself in the bandit's throat. This caused blood to spew from his throat and the bandit clutched his throat. Blood went everywhere, sprawling all over the ground and getting on Naruto's face. He fell over on the ground and slowly died a painful and gruesome death. Naruto just stared at the dead body. The dead body, the death of a human, caused by him. At age 6, Uzumaki Naruto had taken his first life. What have I done? I've killed. This isn't good. I can't kill yet, it is just not right, it's not human. Damn it, Kit. Get your ass out from angsty lane. This is no time to pout and cry because of your first kill. You gotta get out of here and fast. You can angst all you when you get to the destination. Naruto paused for a moment. Right as usual, Naruto sniffed up his tears of sadness and wiped off the blood spatter on his face. Naruto jumped back into the wagon he was riding to gather his things. When he jumped back into the wagon, the bandits started TTING fire to the wagons ahead of the one Naruto was in. The carnage of the dead bodies of the traders and merchants were littered everywhere. Blood was all over the place, making it seem like a bloodbath. The bandits were burning the bodies by gathering them up and tossing them into the abyss that is fire. This caused the horses that pulled Naruto's wagon to scare. They bolted off into the southwest direction, to avoid the burning and the slaughter of themselves. At the sudden jolt of movement, Naruto fell backwards, hit his head, which knocked him unconscious. When Naruto woke up, the first thing he noticed was the heat. And the second thing he noticed was that he was not moving. Holy hell, it's freaking hot. Kit, hell is not holy, it is most certainly unholy. I have been there, I would know. Naruto disregarded the sarcasm coming from Kyuubi. He poked his head out of the wagon. Momentarily blinded by the brightness, he rubbed his eyes. Once the eyes got used to the light, the first thing he noticed was sand. A lot of sand. Sand in every direction he could look. This does not seem like Kurigakure and the water country to me, said Naruto to himself. No shit, Sherlock, which was easily the most obvious thing in the world. Shut your pie hole, Kyuubi, we need to find a village and fast. Naruto turned around behind and he noticed a wall. This was a very big wall, with a gate attached to it. How the hell did I not see this? Naruto sighed to himself. He realized that this was only an escape gate and not one he could enter in. He went back inside the wagon and took everything he could. He found a crate full of yen, which he planned to use to rent out an apartment in this village. He also found a crate full of clothing. He decided to take these two things. He took some scrolls and placed them on the ground. Naruto did some hand seals, and called out Ninpu, Kujushuin ninja arts, item sealing. This caused the items to be sealed inside the scrolls. This is something Kyuubi taught him. Earlier this week, Naruto bagged the scrolls and walked outside. He noted that the horses were both dead. A shame, I was hoping to ride one. The Kyuubi had different thoughts, although. A shame, I was hoping to eat one. Damn it, furball, that is disgusting, how can you eat horse? Because it tastes good, brat. You pile of flesh bags don't understand the tastiness of a horse, you monkeys should try them. They are good. That is disturbing. Just disturbing. Naruto's sweat dropped and the thoughts Kyuubi had on eating horses. Naruto headed along the wall, noting the smell of water. This seems like a port city, which is a good thing. Gonna need fresh water. Naruto walked along the wall, until he reached the main gate. It had an obvious path going right up to it. Naruto decided to use the scared child routine to get in. Naruto walked up the guard at the gate. "Sir, I would like to enter this village. I need a home. Mine got burned down by bandits, please help me," whimpered Naruto in a fake voice, hoping to get in. The guard looked down at the young boy. The guard looked thoughtful for a moment, but he realized the strong chakra signature around the boy. He could grow up to be strong. I should let him in. Strong shinobi are in dire need here. Alright kid, you can go on. I will escort you to Kazekage-sama right away to get you registered as a citizen. And enter you into the ninja academy. The guard stopped for a moment, and looked back at the kid. He added in an afterthought. "Welcome to Sunagaker, kid." "Sunagaker?" questioned Naruto. Naruto looked up at the gruff-looking guard. "I was supposed to be going for Kurigakure." The guard looked down at the kid with a bemused expression on his face. Naruto thought this looked out of the place on the guard. "Sunagaker is not that bad. You will like it here. Plus as a bonus, you won't get pale." Naruto followed the guard through the streets of Suna, idly wondering where the Kazekage Tower was. He watched the civilians here go about their business. The first thing he immediately noticed was that he did not receive glares or anything. A few people were looking at him kind of oddly because of the mask though. Oops, I really should have gone without the mask. Oh well, the whisker marks are too dang noticeable. After being lost in his thoughts for a little bit, he noticed the large tower at the end of the city. The spiral of a building actually had twists in it. To Naruto, it reminded him of the ice cream on an ice cream cone. Its color was sandy white, with glass bubbles as windows. It seemed to tower over all the other buildings. What Naruto did not understand, is why he heard seagulls, and saw the said animals on top of the tower. Looking behind the tower, he saw his answer. Naruto stared at what he saw in awe. There was a port behind the Kazekage Tower. The port seemed to stretch across the entire city. The docks were loaded with men working, small businesses and obviously ships. Dozens of ships were docked into the docks, with their captains and crew working on them. He saw many more ships coming and going between the sea and the village. The markets that were along the sides the walls were quite interesting. There were fish markets, with quite the selection of fish from tuna to salmon. There were herb shops along the docks, selling all kinds of herbs needed to create healing lotions and liquids. Many trinket shops seemed to line the docks as well. Places selling jewelry, pottery, silverware and other odds and ends that seemed to litter the place. What Naruto smelled was a different story. It smelled like there was a lot of sushi bars along the area. He smelled a hint of dango and even some ramen. This place looks so cool. I can't wait to explore it. Anyo saw. Guard-san, why is this village a port city? Naruto looked up at the guard and added on to his statement. We are in the desert, why is there water? The guard chuckled for a moment. Looking down at the kid he answered back, well kid, we need water to live don't we? Then the guard smiled for a bit, which to Naruto looked a bit like seeing that scarred-faced dude who likes to talk with people at Konoha smile. It was a creepy sight. This is also a major source of our income. Besides having ninjas and their missions, this helps bolster our economy, and you do know what that is right. At seeing Naruto nod he kept replying. If we go into a shortage of ninja missions, this will help the village stay alive. Naruto took in this information, as they walked into the Kazekage's tower. Naruto seemed a bit nervous as he was shaking in fear. Kyuubi, what should I do? Should I respect the Kazekage, manipulate him or something else? This looks like he'll be one tough flesh bag. And especially I hate the ones with extra skin. Those ones are hard to eat. Anyways, respect him but do not give any information about me. They do not need to know that I exist. Naruto agreed with the Kyuubi on the information. But not the eating part. Naruto was lagging a little behind so Naruto speed up to the guard's pace and followed the guard up the winding stairs. They eventually came to a pretty-looking secretary. The guard walked up the secretary and muttered a few words. Naruto watched the secretary go into the big wooden double doors. Deciding that this may take a while, Naruto sat down on the chairs in the waiting area. He took up some conversation to take up some time, with the Kyuubi. Hey Kyuubi, what kind of jutsus should I learn? Kadens, Futons, Hell Raidens would be awesome. Settle down brat. I planned on teaching you mostly Suiten and Doten jutsus. These were my specialties. I know a few katens you can have though. You will not learn many if any at all of the Raiden kind. You need near-perfect control for those, and this you will never have. Naruto hung his head in shame, he thought not being able to be perfect sucked. Taijutsu is something that will take you years to learn. It's not your thing, but it is needed to get anywhere. You will also learn Kinjutsu later on in your life. Flesh bags may suck at fighting, but the katana is a lovely killing weapon they invented. I get to learn how to fight with a katana. That is so cool, when do I start? Naruto was quite exciting at the prospect of being able to fight with a sword. Not until you are at least 7 years old, brat. You are too small. A katana is taller than you. Damn furball, taking all the fun out of training, grumbled out Naruto. Naruto was jerked out of his thoughts by a sudden voice, the cage will see you now. Naruto gulped and walked into the room. Once inside, he saw sitting at the head of the table was a man with the blue cage robes on. He had his hat and veil off, which revealed his red hair and teal-colored eyes. Naruto knew that this guy was powerful. He could feel it radiating off of him. Welcome to Sunagaku, young one, what is your name? The cage finally spoke, looking down at the child with kindness in his eyes. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, what is your name, Cage-sama? Naruto answered the question politely. Naruto is a very nice name to have, as for my name. I am called Soryu Satoru. You can call me Cage-sama though. Now why are you in Sunagaku? Kit, tell the sand monkey the truth. Tell him where you are from. Mention me as a bloodline that will be helpful to your plight. I used to live in Konohagakure, sir. I ran away from there, looking for a better place to live. I have no parents. I lied to your guard to get in, I am so sorry. Konoha. This is useful. I can turn one of their potential nins into my own. He seems strong. I can sense chakra just oozing out of him. Hopefully he meets my son Gaara, whom is mistreated. Here in Sun because of that blasted seal. I should have never done that, how foolish of me. His seal is hard to keep under control, hopefully this boy can help calm him down. I will need to get a seal specialist in here soon. The cage thought to himself. It's okay Naruto-kun, I am not angry at you. I will get you an apartment, since you do not have any parents and you look like you can take care of yourself. It will be in the Suna living district. This is a middle-class area, so it is not so bad, replied the cage after much thought. Naruto looked really happy at this. He was dying to hug the man, but refrained himself. Naruto looked up when he noticed Cage-sama began to talk again. Now, please tell me about anything special. This will be going on your record as a ninja. All kids are put in the academy. But not everyone makes it. Anything you would like to add? Naruto looked thoughtful for a moment and replied. Cage-sama, I have a bloodline, maybe a limit I think. I have 2 types of chakra. One is normal, which is blue, and the other is red. The red chakra heals me when I'm hurt. It also supplies more chakra when I'm out. Is this special enough? The cage was stunned. This kid had a bloodline. Which the leaf nins just dumped him like a commoner. Oh yes, this kid would be useful. He is very useful to Suna, too much potential to waste. The cage realized. The kid had finished talking and told him, yes, that is special Naruto-kun. You will be strong, I am sure of it. Naruto smiled at the praise, it is something he rarely got. Now, I will have a chew. Nin escort you around Sunagaku to get used to the place. He will answer any questions you have. He will also show you to your apartment after the tour has finished. Is this acceptable? The cage asked the kid after the long-winded response. Good, thanks for getting me out of paperwork, by the way, I hate the stuff. Naruto grinned at the thought of easing this month's workload. Sadly, having you in the village requires more paperwork, ah well. Naruto bobbed his head down after hearing this. The cage continued to speak, the chunin that will be escorting you around is named Hatasaki Ikasu. Just call Ikasu-sensei, for he will be your academy teacher in a few years. Ikasu appeared from the door and greeted Naruto, yo, I will be your tour guide this evening. Fasten in your shinobi wire, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Naruto laughed at the man's antics. Naruto turned around, bowed and thanked the cage. With a smile on the faces of Naruto and the cage, Naruto followed Ikasu out the door and onto the tour. Alright Naruto, I guess it's time to go on the ride. I will be taking you to all the districts, explaining the major clans along the way, Ikasu said in quite the lecture mode. Ikasu put on a smile and began to shout out, please keep all hands and feet, as well as shinobi equipment inside the ride at all times. Thank you. Naruto laughed at the weirdness of this guy. He assumed it was to help kids pay attention in class. The first place they stopped at was the training district, as loads of people were sparing here. This is the training district, started Ikasu. This is where you train most of the time. You can come back here, let's move along now. Naruto was saddened that he didn't get to watch the sand ninja spar more, to get more jutsus out of it. Naruto followed the Chunin into what appeared to be the market district. Many civilians and shops lined the streets. He noticed stores that sell shinobi gear, house gear and other miscellaneous items. These stores seem a lot more trustworthy than the crap at the docks. The crap at the docks is for poor flesh bags. The stuff here is for the middle and upper class flesh bags. In the end you are all flesh bags. Why classify yourselves? Foolish mortals. Akinit fuzzball, there is no need to be sarcastic now. This is the market district Naruto. Here you can buy everything you need. Luckily, you will not be living poorly, so do not worry about money. Kage-sama will be covering your costs until you are a genin, explained Ikasu-sensei. Naruto perked up at hearing this. Why would he do that, Ikasu-sensei? I'm just a little child. You are a little child with a bloodline. You are valuable to any village you are in, answered Ikasu. Naruto looked kind of put off at the thought of being used. But he tried to hide it from Ikasu-sensei. Ikasu caught this look though and added on to his thought, the Kage still cares for you. He would offer this to any child, but don't be surprised if you have a little bit of extra ryu than normal. Naruto seemed placated by this information. They continued to walk down the street. They walked up another gate and went on through. When they emerged, Naruto noticed the most obvious thing. This place was for the rich. There are two large luxurious manors, apparently held the clans of Sunagaku. Each manor had a training ground, gardens and a lot of other things. He watched as shinobi were sparing. His eyes widened though when he heard a jutsu being called out. Garasu Soin no Jutsu, glass chips technique. Naruto's eyes were amaze. When glass chips were summoned out of the air and launched at the enemy. What the other guy did amazed Naruto even more. The other shinobi called out, Garasu Tate no Jutsu, glass shield technique. This caused a slate of thick glass to form around the shinobi, which caused the glass chips bounced off of harmlessly. Naruto looked over to Ikasu and asked, who are they and why are they able to do glass jutsus? Ikasu looked down at Naruto. As you may have noticed, this is the bloodline district. Most major bloodlines live here. Ikasu looked thoughtful for a moment and began to speak, that clan over there has the ability to do glass jutsus. This is only a bloodline and not a bloodline limit. They are the Haruko clan. They tend to fight usually using only their glass techniques. Most of them are actually fairly nice. For they are a newer clan in Sunagaku. Naruto looked thoughtful for a second, spoke, does that mean they are horrible against fire jutsus? Ikasu chuckled and GHT to himself, this kid is really smart. He will be a great ninja one day. Yes Naruto, that means they are weak to fire jutsus, you catch on quickly. Naruto beamed at the praise. Allow me to explain the other clans in this district Naruto, explained Ikasu. Naruto nodded his head, eager to learn information about his new allies. We have a clan here that has jutsus that affect the temperature. These guys are quite skilled in using wind jutsus in combination with their temperature jutsus. They are called the Kikarusi clan. They are a very team-oriented clan, so you would be lucky to get one of them on your genin team. They kept on going a little bit farther until they got to the next manor. He watched as these shinobi would fight, using a form of genjutsu that confused him. Why is a clan like this using genjutsu? After letting Naruto soak in that information, he began to speak again. This manor houses an interesting bloodline. These guys specialize in mirage jutsus. Naruto looked confused for a moment and asked, isn't a mirage just a genjutsu, like a normal one? Ikasu chuckled and answered back, well, these mirage jutsus only work if there is heat. Also the normal command Kai, to cancel and disrupt genjutsus, does not work on these genjutsus. Naruto looked shocked at this. That is a power bloodline, he thought. They are the Shikaro clan. They work really well Toge. They're with the Kikarusi clan because their bloodlines correspond with each other. Oftentimes you will see them on the same teams, explained Ikasu. Naruto took in this information. It was useful to him. He could learn how to defend against these clans and beat the crap out of the most likely quite arrogant clan heads and council. They walked a little farther until they got to a large house with an odd smell. What is that I smell? Kyubi. Smells like a cat. I hate cats, as they are almost as bad as flesh bags. Naruto chuckled at the Kyubi, when he saw two people fighting. His eyes widened when he saw lions alongside the fighters. He watched them turn into a beast-like form themselves, that of a lion. They grew a mane and began to attack each other using interesting taijutsu that seemed to require impressive speed. Naruto would have kept gawking, but stopped when Ikasu began to speak again. This is the home of the lion users. They use lions as companions in battle as well as use special jutsus that correspond with the lions. These guys tend to be really good at tracking things down. Naruto was wide-eyed at that. The thought of using lions in battle was a bit scary. Ikasu added in afterthought. They are the Reizuka clan. They tend to be brash individuals and not so good with stealth. Naruto watched as the next manner showed a bunch of people, who all looked the same fighting. They had gray eyes with sandy brown hair. Naruto watched in amazement as he saw wind being forced out of their palms and hit their opponents. He watched them trade blow for blow as a style with much fluid and grace. Ikasu began to explain who these people were. This manor is the largest and houses the most powerful clan in Sungakure, the Hirajiga clan. They practice a wind-type taijutsu called Fuikaigen. The clan has a main house and a branch house. The branch house has a seal placed on them. It's kind of like the seal the Hyuga use. The Keizinsho wind seal locks the bloodline away when they die. It is placed on their hand. And they can even torture them using the seal. Naruto looked horrified that anyone could do such a thing to their family. Ikasu looked sad and began to speak. The main house controls everything. Right now though there is a dispute in the family because there are two possible heirs to the clan head. They are twins. The girl is named Kaori and she is very aggressive. And considered stronger than her brother. While the boy is named Kuya, who is more passive and considered weaker. They both are actually your age, 6 years old. It is sad that they are fighting over who should be heir already. Droned Ikasu sadly. Naruto could tell he did not like this clan much. That clan is also very arrogant. They only use their taijutsu and their special jutsus. They have other jutsus that help them. Which only they can do. Never do you see one use something that is non-Hirajiga. Naruto just stared at him. This clan sounds like a bunch of fools. He intended to fix this later on his life. Naruto turned around and saw an empty manor. This seemed suspicious to Naruto, so he turned around and asked Ikasu-sensei, Anyo, sensei, why is that manor empty? Ikasu turned around and looked at what Naruto pointed at. He's pointing at that clan's manor. I won't tell him it's a secret, just say that it is for sale. MMH. Naruto-kun, that manor is just for sale, answered Ikasu. Brat, he's lying. I can smell that from even in here, that's pathetic. He's lying. It is probably a big secret then. I will respect it I guess, but I should pester around to learn about it, that would be cool. Naruto and Ikasu left the Bloodline district and entered to what Naruto thought was the living district. It was filled with nice houses, all lush with colors and people. Nobody here seemed poor or rich either. It was like a middle class. Naruto-kun, began Ikasu. Naruto turned his head to look at Ikasu. This is the Suna living district. This is also where you will reside. You will spend a lot of time here. As there are various training grounds in here as well playgrounds for you to play at. Naruto was happy at this information, for he didn't want to go out into the desert too often to train. I will take you to your apartment now, and thus concludes the ride. Naruto followed Ikasu to a building with around 10 doors. Walking upstairs, he noticed that there was a hallway of doors with a ledge on the other side, each with a label on it. They stopped at a door labeled Apartment 2C. Naruto thought to himself, damn it. Am I doomed to live in Apartment 2C all my life? This is your apartment Naruto-kun. Here is your key. Inside the apartment you only have appliances and a bed. You will need to buy everything else, and I wish you a pleasant day. With that, Ikasu left Naruto in a cloud of smoke. Man, I wish I could do that awesome jutsu. In time, Kit, for now let's go inside and see your new accommodations. With that thought in mind, Naruto put the key in the lock and opened the door. Inside the apartment, there were several things that he noticed. It was completely bare and it was bigger than his old one at Konoha. The apartment had a fairly large living room. Stepping in, he walked down the hallway. The walls were made of wood, with a dark brown coating on them. The floors were a nice beige wooden floor. There was one bedroom in the house, as well as a kitchen and dining room combo. The only bathroom in the house was connected to the bedroom. It had only the basic appliances. He dusted a fairly large layer of dust though. Damn, I am going to have to clean this place up. I don't want to do that. Haha, puny little kitling is going to have to clean. Boo-hoo, or you are going to cry. Shut up fuzzball, I just don't like cleaning. Don't make me come in there and throw plushie toys at you. Plushie toys. The horror. I concede, please don't come in here and do that. Naruto snickered at Kyuubi for being afraid of little harmless plushie toys. After getting out of the awe of having a better home, he decided that now was a good time to shop for furniture. He set down his bag on the floor with various scrolls. Grabbing the one labeled money, he unsealed it using the command Kai. With that, a crate popped out. He opened it up and took the entire contents. He now had enough money for various things he will need to run an apartment. With that in mind, he walked out the door in his new home. Jumping over the ledge, he landed on his feet and burst to the market district. Arriving at the market district, he searched for a furniture store. After finally finding one, he walked in and went up to the sales clerk. Sales clerk-san, I need to get tables, chairs and couches for my new apartment, can you point me to the right direction? Asked Naruto. The sales clerk nodded and pointed to the correction section. Walking over to the said section, Naruto picked up the tags he planned to purchase. He picked out a TV and a sofa tag. He also got a small coffee table for the living room. He pulled out 2 chairs and a small square table for the dining room. For his bedroom he selected the tag required for a dresser and a mirror. Taking the tags up the sales clerk, he pulled out an empty scroll. The sales clerk told him that the price was 1,542 ryu. Paying the prices, he went to the back to collect the buys. At each item that he bought, he performed the item sealing jutsu, ninpu, kuju shuin. After sticking the scrolls in his bag, he left the furniture store. Looking around, he tried to find a grocery store. After finding one, he went inside and got the necessary items. He picked up some milk, bread, fruits and vegetables as well as rice balls. Leaving the grocery store, he stopped at the accessory store to get pots, pans and other much needed items to live. After around 3 hours of shopping he was tired and done for the day. Leaving the store, he walked home. After getting back to his district, he accidentally bumped into a kid. Hey Gaki, watch where you are going. Turn around, so I can kick your ass. Naruto turned around and saw the oddest thing he has yet to see in his short life. It was a kid in a black hooded jumpsuit with odd markings on his face, as if he tried to draw them on himself. Naruto asked the kid his name. Who are you? I am Kankuro. I am the best ninja ever. Since you bumped into me, this requires me to kick your little scrawny ass. Naruto jumped him and got into a fighting stance, ready for anything. What he was not ready for was when Kankuro pulled out a 1-foot-tall doll. What the hell? You are going to fight with a doll? That's not going to do much damage. Naruto realized he spoke too soon when said doll started to move on its own and pulled out kunai and other various sharp objects. You were saying Dobi. This doll is going to kick your ass, yelled Kankuro confidently. The doll sounded shot forward at average speed with a sharp kunai in its hand. Naruto dodged out of the way as the doll struck, rolled on the floor and pulled out a kunai. Hey kid, that boy is a puppet fighter. He uses chakra strings to control the puppet. Just aim for the puppeteer. Naruto agreeing with the Kyuubi fired 4 kunai at the kid. All 4 kunai impacted their target, the hands of the kid. Kankuro screamed in rage, and the doll dropped from his hands and stopped moving as it lost its life at the sudden pain in Kankuro's arms. Never bully me punk, I don't take kindly to it. Naruto sneered this at the boy. Kankuro looked up the kid and noticed he was dead serious. He picked up his doll, while wrapping up his hands in cloth and went running while screaming for his daddy. Naruto thought it served the punk right and continued on home. Once arrived home, he unsealed everything in his bag. Moving them to the spots needed in the house, he ate a rice ball to soothe his growing hunger. After this was done, he sat down on the sofa and had a chat with the Kyuubi. So Fuzzball, what should I do about my training for the next 6 years? You will continue to run laps around the Suna wall. Also, I will be teaching you various jutsus. I can't teach you any Doden jutsus, because there is none here. I will teach you Fuden, Kaden and Suiten jutsus. I will also teach you various nitpicks and tricks of the shinobi profession. That sounds cool. Hopefully, I will become strong. What should I do about genjutsu and taijutsu? The Kyuubi thought for a moment and replied, taijutsu is something you will need to find an instructor for. I have pause and obviously have no taijutsu training. Find a kenjutsu trainer too. A katana is something that every shinobi should be well skilled with, but they are not. Naruto nodded, just dying to learn how to kill people with a katana. As for genjutsu, I will help you learn how to counter some of it, but it will always be a weakness for you. Naruto knew he couldn't be perfect. He looked at the clock and noticed it was late. He thanked the Kyuubi and walked into the bedroom. He put on his pajamas and walked over to the bed. Climbing into the bed, he could not wait until tomorrow. His first real day in a village that does not hate him really sounded exciting. Training starts tomorrow, he thought, and he quickly fell asleep. Waking up before sunrise, Naruto put on his training gear. He noticed that more weight was added to his body. I must be getting used to it at a faster than I thought. He went into his kitchen and prepared a good breakfast. Well, to him a single muffin was as good of breakfast as any. After eating, he took a quick burst outside and jumped over the rail. Landing on his feet, he jolted to the ramp that led up to the wall. Luckily for him, the wall was very wide, which allowed shinobi to run laps on it. Naruto started at the north end. He ran to the south end, then back up north. While running, he would practice his hand seals, do flips off the stone slabs attached to the wall, and most importantly, play the game of chess with Kyuubi in his mind. Naruto moved his queen in front of the king and called check. Ha, take that, Kyuubi. I am going to win this time. Kyuubi simply moved his bishop and took the queen. Gaki, you rush into much, actually try and think up a strategy. This game went on for hours as Naruto ran laps. This also helped his ability to multitask while doing things. He could plan in his head, fight, and even do something meaningless, like read a book. After around 2 hours of running, Naruto slowed down to a stop. He jumped off the wall and landed on the roof of a building nearby. Jumping as fast as he could, he started to perform jumps, flips and other acrobatic things in the air to help train himself. Finally arriving in the training district, he elected a vacant training area and began to have a conversation with the Kyuubi. So Kyuubi, what jutsu am I going to learn today? Today, Kit, you are going to learn 3 jutsus. Naruto was excited on hearing this. He then proceeded to ask, what jutsus, which ones will I learn? I hope they kick ass. You will learn the other 2 basic academy jutsus, Bunshin no Jutsu and Kawarimi no Jutsu. Naruto nodded, realizing the importance of both of those jutsus, and the Kawarimi is a very crucial skill for any ninja. I will also teach you a Kaden jutsu. You will learn Kaden, Gukaku no Jutsu, Grand Fireball technique. That jutsu will be helpful for you in this part of the world. Sadly, the Fuden jutsu's many sand nins use will null the fire. But there are a good number of clans outside here that are vulnerable to fire, and not many sand nins use fire. Naruto was excited at learning his first real jutsu, but first he had to learn the other 2 basic jutsus. Naruto had an abrupt thought and expressed it out to Kyuubi. Hey Fuzzball, how did you learn about human jutsus and how do you know the correct hand seals? Kyuubi was shocked that the brat actually asked him this question. Kyuubi then began to explain it to Naruto. When I was only a few hundred years old, I stumbled upon a group of humans that worshipped foxes. Me being a big 9-tailed fox took advantage of this. They would give me gifts for protecting their village. I did this for around 100 years. The village was struck with a terrible epidemic at that time. The ones left alive gave me all their scrolls on the human jutsus. Contrary to popular belief, Naruto loved history. This was interesting stuff to learn, as long as it was about war. He used an AHHED at the correct places. He just thought history on politics was boring. Kyuubi began to speak again. Knowing that I would most likely fight or be with humans in the future, I memorized the hand seals as well jutsus used. I can just flash the memory of the seals to you. Then you can do them. Wow, that was a sweet history tale. You can send me the memories now. Once receiving the memory on how to do the Bunshin no Jutsu, he went through the seals practicing them. As soon as he got that done, he attempted the jutsu. After a small puff, he looked at his clones. Well, to be accurate, he looked down at his clones. What the hell is that? This thing looks dead. Naruto screamed. The clone had a sickly looking face and looked fairly lifeless. It seems to be that this jutsu takes too little chakra for you to do. To get this jutsu right, you would need to create around 100 clones. Naruto attempted the jutsu again, forcing as much chakra as he could, but he still felt it fail. Kyuubi, can you tell me what is going wrong? Sure Gaki, I will check your tenkatsu. I've looked into your chakra to see where this disruption is coming from. There is a single tenkatsu in both of your hands that need fixed. This will only take a moment, but will cause pain. I am so going to enjoy this. Single quote. Right away, Naruto felt the pain course through his body and up to his hands. He seethed in agony as he dropped to the ground, trying his best not to scream. Succeeding in not screaming, he felt the pain finally go away. While getting up, and he questioned the Kyuubi about the pain. Damn it Kyuubi, did you have to make it hurt so much? Yes. Naruto sweat dropped at such a straightforward answer. Get back to work, you can probably do that Bunshin jutsu now. Naruto nodded while grumbling and did the jutsu again. To his surprise it worked, as Tenregu. Lar clones phased into existence and they looked exactly like a healthy Naruto. Kyuubi then explained the jutsu to him. It creates illusions of the caster, in other words, clones. These are basic clones that aren't real. If they are hit by something, they automatically disappear. Also they cast no shadows, thus are easy to detect. Naruto was about to dismiss the jutsu as worthless when he thought about it for a second. Using this jutsu, along with another clone skill, would become deadly. This is actually quite useful. Now it is time to teach the Kawarimi no Jutsu. I will send you the hand seals for them now. I want you to summon me for a while. I will throw stones at you and you need Kawarimi out of being hit. Naruto got the hand seals slashed into his brain and he summoned the Kyuubi using Kuchio's no Jutsu, Kitsune. A small puff of smoke appeared and of course when it cleared the tiny Kyuubi stood in its prodigious grandeur. Naruto still couldn't resist and laughed at the puny size of the puff ball. Kit, stop laughing and get ready, I am going to start throwing stones now. Naruto got ready and watched the Kyuubi. He began to do the seals for the jutsu but was too slow. He was already hit by a rock. Get faster Kit, do the hand seals faster. Naruto went through the hand seals as fast as he could and whispered, Kawarimi no Jutsu. A small puff of smoke appeared and he switched with a log nearby, causing the stone to hit the log. Good Kit, you are getting better. Let's practice this for an hour. Naruto spent about an hour dodging rocks using the Kawarimi no Jutsu. He was become so good at it. He nearly did it without second thought when he needed to. They also practiced plan old dodging as well. Naruto was getting quite skilled at detecting Kyuubi and dodging the rocks and other things that were thrown at him. By then, the Kyuubi had puffed away. It was around 1 in the afternoon and Naruto took a lunch break. Afterwards, he began to question the Q. By on the Kaden Jutsu he will be learning. What is it like and how should I practice it fuzzball? You see that pond over there? I want you practice it by blasting the fireball into the pond. Now the jutsu is like this. It is simple a jutsu where the user blows a large ball of fire from his mouth. Naruto's sweat dropped at the simple answer. Walking over the pond, while receiving the hand seals for it, he began to get ready to work on it. Gathering chakra to his lungs he went through the seals, ending on the tiger seal. Calling out, Kaden Gukaku no Jutsu, he proceeded to blow out heat. Hen started to wonder why he did not feel heat. Even though he did not feel heat, he watched a giant fireball spew out of his mouth and hit the pond. The fireball was about the size of a wagon. Sweet, I did the jutsu on my first try. Good job, Kit. I want you to set up piles of sand all around you. Make each a different size. Practice the jutsu while moving as well as practicing the amount of Akra needed for the right size of fireball. Naruto nodded and began doing as the Kyuubi instructed. At first he was having trouble creating the right size fireball for the job, but after 20 minutes he got it down. It is around 6 in the evening now. You are only 6, and there is no reason to overwork you. You still need to fight a taijutsu and kenjutsu trainer. Naruto was happy that Ning was done for today and went in search for someone to teach him taijutsu and kenjutsu. Along the way he met a bunch of kids playing a game that involved a ball. He noticed one kid who seemed to not as included with the others. He was staring at the kids as if he was not allowed to play. He had red hair and he was holding a teddy bear. Naruto went over to the boy and said, "Hi, my name is Uzumaki Naruto, what is yours?" Gaara was startled that someone was talking to him. "No, go away, the sand will hurt you. Please, I can't have friends." "Hey, another pathetic twerp is walking up this kid. I can finally kill someone. Wait a second, what is that I feel? Kyuubi. No, I will be good. I promise. I'm sorry Kyuubi-sama," thought Shukaku. Kyuubi felt the familiar chakra signature of the one-tailed demon. Shukaku and informed Naruto. "Kit, this kid has the Shukaku sealed in him, with a faulty seal. That is the one-tailed demon. He likes to mess with his container's minds, but it can be fixed if someone is a master at seals." Naruto was surprised at this information and bluntly told Gaara, "I have a demon too, his name is Kyuubi." Gaara's eyes widened and he felt at ease, knowing there was someone else just like him. "Now I ask you again, what is your name?" asked Naruto. Gaara looked thoughtful for a moment and answered, "My name is Soryu Gaara, will you be my friend? My demon is afraid of you." Naruto smiled at the thought of his new friend and said, "Yes, you can be my friend, we will be best friends. Your father is the Kazekage. Want to spar?" Gaara looked up at him, and smiled for the first time in a while and thought to himself. Is this what it means to have a friend? I hope I make more. Yes, my father is the Kazekage as he is the only one nice to me until you came along. Okay Naruto, let's spar, answered Gaara. The two walked to the training district, with smiles on their faces. Once they arrived at the training grounds, both of them got into a fighting stance. Well, Naruto got into one. Gaara just stood there, ready to fight. Asked Naruto. At seeing Gaara's nod, Naruto shouted, "Begin." Naruto moved in for the attack with a punch. His eyes widened when sand was instantly brought up to defend Gaara. He has an automatic defense. Damn it, how am I going to break it? Gaara then lashed out his sand at the unsuspecting Naruto. He cried out, "No, mommy, please don't harm him, please just stop. Please just stop now. He is my friend." Naruto finally noticed the sand coming at him, but noticed it was slowing down somewhat due to the outcries of Gaara. He was confused as to why Gaara was screaming this, but he snapped out of his thoughts. Forming quick hand seals, he whispered out, "Kawarimi no jutsu." Replacing himself with a log, he watched as the log got crushed with overwhelming might. That would have sucked to be in the middle of that. Geesh, this kid is good. Quickly deciding on another form of action, Naruto went through a set of seals as fast as he could and cried out, "Kaiten, Gukaku no Jutsu." A large fireball rushed towards Gaara, and his sand instantly went up to protect him. Naruto was horrified, thinking that he used too much chakra. But as the smoke cleared, saw that Gaara was still there, completely unharmed. What he did noticed was that some of the sand had turned into glass. So there is a weakness, interesting. I need to learn strong Kaiten jutsus. Gaara, stop, you won. I can't do anything else. Gaara nodded, finally he thought himself, and he would not to have to kill his new friend. Gaara and Naruto started to walk on to their respective homes, chatting about subjects like jutsus, being a ninja and going to the future ninja academy. They both could not wait to go the ninja academy at age 7. Naruto had learned through Gaara that his siblings were Temari, who was 10, and Kankuro, who was 8. They were both afraid of him. Gaara learned that Naruto just came to Suna yesterday. He also told him about his encounter with Kankuro, and Gaara just laughed at the stupidity of his own brother. While walking down the street they noticed a white-haired guy being chased down by screaming, toweled girls. Taking pity on the old man, Naruto and Gaara saved him. Jiraiya was running away from angry women after he was caught peeking. He was suddenly hoisted up into a tree and noticed that his saviors were two little kids. He bent down and looked at the kids. Decided to thank them for saving him, he asked, "Hey, kid, what's your name?" Pointing at Naruto. "Uzumaki Naruto, this is my friend, Sabaku no Gaara, what's your name, mister? Why were those girls chasing you?" Jiraiya's eyes slightly widened at the two kids' names, realizing them as the demon containers. "Why is Naruto out of Konoha? This is interesting, two Jinchuriki in one spot. I will have to keep an eye on Suna because of Akatsuki." Jiraiya decided to introduce himself using his famous dance. "I am the famous and legendary Sannin, the Toad Hermit, Jiraiya." Both Gaara and Naruto sweet-dropped at such a stupid dance. Naruto got the bright idea though, remembering what Sannin wear from when the old man Hokage would talk to him. Naruto thought to himself, "I can't let him get away without helping my friend. Knowing him, he would run away if he wandered out of my sight." Naruto grinned and began to ask in an odd voice, "Jiraiya, I have heard of you. You are a powerful ninja. One of the three legendary Sannin. Can you help my friend? His seal is faulty. Can you fix it? It affects his mind. I just want my friend to be treated normally." Jiraiya looked at him, grinning at the praise and said, "Sure thing, kid, I'll fix his seal, in fact I can do it right now." Jiraiya went through a series of hand seals and said, "Omnigokuant mind seal." This placed a seal where Gaara's existing one was, which was on his forehead. The kanji, I, was his seal. Gaara instantly fell asleep at the ceiling being placed on him, for he could finally sleep. "There, kid, that should do it. That sealed away the Shukaku from affecting his mind. You should take him home, kid, for now I am going to go. I am sure we will see each other again, some other time." Naruto watched Jiraiya jump away. While grabbing Gaara, he took Gaara back to the case cage tower and went to look for him. He saw the case cage walking around the lobby, as if his day was done. The case cage turned around and asked Naruto, "Why did you attack my son, Kankuro?" In a hazard voice. Naruto shuddered at being found out and answered, "I accidentally bumped into him. He pulled out a puppet and began to attack me. As if it was such a big thing that I bumped into him." The case cage began to speak again but noticed, "Why is my youngest son, Gaara, in your arms? Answer me now." He seemed to have forgotten about the Kankuro incident. Naruto gulped and replied, "Case Cage-sama, I found your son Gaara. He fell asleep." The case cage turned around, wide-eyed at the fact Gaara was sleeping and no Shukaku was coming out. "Naruto. How is he sleeping? When he sleeps, the monster Shukaku comes out," asked the case cage in worry. "Well, you see, I met Gaara at the playground. After a spar, we saved his pervert from being beaten by these women in towels. It turned out it was Jiraiya. He fixed his seal for me cause I asked him to for payment." Case cage sweet dropped at the thought of anyone saving that pervert from being beaten. "All right, I'll take my son, you can go home now." Naruto nodded and went on home, ready to face a new day. The sandaime was an old man. He just wishes he could relax right now but he cannot. He just has way too much paperwork to complete. Tax reports, Anbu reports, economy reports, mission reports, laws and contracts, it just never ends. He was also worried about Naruto. The boy left only just a few days ago and he had no clue of where he went. He knew better than to send anyone after him though. Anbu and Hunter Nins would just kill him outright, rather than bring him back. Wherever he was, he hoped that the boy was safe and in peace. What he did not expect however was for something to come crashing through his window, or rather someone. He quickly looked over at the figure that cruised through his window. He noticed the long gray hair and immediately said, "Jiraiya, what brings you to Konoha?" A new Ica Ica Paradise book finished. I can't wait for the next one. I just love reading about the nurse and doctor having fun, wheezed out the sandaime in a perverted laugh. Jiraiya looked up at his old sensei and replied back, Sensei. You're Biko. Ming worse than I am when it comes to being a pervert. That's not a good thing. For I am the super pervert. I must be surpassed by no one." Both Jiraiya and the sandaime shared a short laugh at this. Once the laughing ceased, Jiraiya began to speak. Anyways, no, unfortunately I am not here about the Ika Ika series. It is about news of the shinobi world, and odd news at that, answered Jiraiya. Oh, asked the Sandame. What news is this, Jiraiya? What does it pertain to? It pertains to a certain friend of ours, the Kyuubi container. The Sandame widened his eyes at this. You have news of Naruto. Tell me. Now. I want to know where he is. Jiraiya looked at him kind of funny and asked, you know he left, yet you sent nobody to look for him. Why? Because the Anbu and Hunter Nins would kill him outright in hate and loathing instead of bringing him back. Most people are happy he is gone, which is a sad thing. Nobody seems to miss him, and I mean nobody. Jiraiya looked pretty sad at this news, but knew that he better deliver the good news to the Sandame before he delivers the extravagantly bad news. The boy is in Sunagaku, and he seems to have befriended the other demon container there. I fixed his friend's seal though, since they saved me from a ravaged stampede of women. The Sandame was relieved that Naruto was safe, but Sunagaku. That place was hardcore when it came to training ninja, he thought. Luckily it wasn't as bad as Bloody Mist though. Someone actually saved him from pissed off girls. I wish I had that luxury. I guess he is doing well then, huh? We will surely see him again. Maybe for the Chunin exam or some other event. I have no doubt that he will grow strong, answered the Sandame in a bit of a happy voice. Jiraiya thought for a moment and got a sudden flashback about those two talking to him. Sarutobi-sensei, Naruto knows about the Kyuubi. He wouldn't have befriended Gaara otherwise, plus I sensed the Kyuubi's power briefly in the figure of Naruto. That is troubling news, Jiraiya. Hopefully the Kyuubi mellowed out a bit in the last 6 years, answered the Sandame. Jiraiya looked thoughtful and very doubtful about the mellowing of the Kyuubi for a moment and asked an important question, will you be sending Anbu or other ninja to retrieve Naruto? No, there is no need. He is probably happier where he is today. The Sand Nins do not know about the Kyuubi. Thus he is probably treated well. Leave him where he is, replied Sarutobi in an order-like voice. Alright sensei. We have some other major problems though. A new organization has been created. They are called the Akatsuki. They are made up of S-class missing nins. The Sandame looked thoughtful and asked, who are the members and what is their goal? There are as of right now 10 members. Not including the leader. I know Orochimaru is in this group. I also spotted the village secret S-class missing nin, Hyuga Hiro. I only know of one other member and that is Hoshigaki Kisame. One of the legendary 7 swordsmen of Kurigaku. The Sandame was a tad scared, that was a lot of strong people in one place. Jiraiya only knew 3 members as well. This is not good, he thought. That is bad news, Jiraiya. Very bad news. I shudder to think of who the other 8 members are. Now tell me their goal, Jiraiya, what are they up to? Jiraiya looked grim and answered, they are making plans to catch all the tailed Biju and eliminate certain weak villages. The Sandame paled at this news. This is definitely not a good thing. Having an evil organization controlling all he-tailed demons is not something the ninja villages of the shinobi continent could handle. Even Konoha would fall in such an onslaught. I hope there is no more bad news, Jiraiya. No, there is no more news to report. I will be leaving soon to keep tabs on this organization. Are you going to get Naruto back now that there is a major threat? The Sandame thought for a second and replied, no, I am not. I still feel he is safer there than here. Plus Akatsuki probably has no idea that Naruto is in Suna right now. Let's keep it that way for now. Jiraiya nodded and left the building. The Sandame looked down at his paperwork, frowned and thought, I hope Naruto is happy. He should be protected well there with the Keisuke Yondaime. He's an old friend of mine. Gaara was just waking up from a very long night and much needed sleep. Wait a second, I was sleeping. No, not good, I hope Naruto is okay. Gaara opened his eyes and found himself on his bed, with no destruction around him. He saw his father looking at him with a smile. His father began to speak, Jiraiya Dono fixed your seal, Gaara-kun. You can now sleep and be awake without the insane urges of the Shukaku. This pleases me greatly. Gaara smiled, a true smile. For the first time ever. He started to play with the sand and noticed something. He looked over at his father and asked, I can still control the sand. Can you train me? Keisuke replied, sure, I can train you. You will be strong, my son. It is needed that you are to be strong. You are soon as pride. Gaara smiled and followed his father to his office. Now Gaara-kun, I'm the Cage and I cannot possibly train you all day. I will assign a sensei for you. His name is Naroshi Kotestu. He is a Junin and will teach you how to fight using your sand and a defensive form of taijutsu as well. Gaara watched the brown-haired man walking in. He greeted his sensei and followed him to the training district. This is going to be so much fun. This is gonna be fun. But I prefer to make sand castles. Gaara was surprised that he heard a voice in his head, a demon voice at that. Who are you? I'm Shukaku. I love making sand castles. Do you love sand castles? Gee. Aara twitched at the giddy voice inside his head. I thought the Shukaku was insane though. You don't sound insane, just childish. I am not childish. I just have an absolute love and fetish for sand castles. I still love killing and destroying stuff too. It is almost as fun as making sand castles, but not quite. Gaara just produced a mental stare and was a bit annoying with the giddy voice in his head. We can talk now because that old pervert fixed your seal. Doing this got rid of that annoying ass priest. I really hated him, he hated sand castles. I'm glad that old guy exorcised him out. Gah. Eris smiled a bit and was a bit happier knowing that he would always have someone to talk to, no matter how odd his fetishes are. Naruto had just woken up. Today was the day he was going to ask Kazekage-sama about a taijutsu trainer. He got dressed and ate his daily muffin. Locking the door on his way out, he started to hop the roofs to get to the Kazekage tower. While doing this, he also practiced in his hand sealing speed as well as chatting with the Kyuubi. Oi fuzzball, what kinda of taijutsu do you think I would be good at? Damn it brat, I don't have fists to use taijutsu, so I have no idea. I hope your teacher is not as odd as the last one. You and I both, wait, you can't use taijutsu. Ha ha ha, that totally freakin' sucks for you. Shut up monkey. Arriving at the Kazekage tower, Naruto walked in the doors and went up the stairs. He asked the secretary if he could see the Kazekage. Once permission was granted, he walked into the doors and said, Kazekage-sama, I am in dire need of a taijutsu trainer. Could you perhaps recommend me one? Better yet, assign one to me. The Kazekage looked up from his paperwork, happy to get a break from doing that. He looked down at Naruto and replied, sure. I will get you someone to train you in taijutsu. We only have a handful of taijutsu trainers in the village, but you are special, and like anything special, you get treated like royalty. Naruto frowned at the blatant favoritism but quickly hid it. He then proceeded to ask, what is this ninja's name? His name is Buro Imori. He is a master of nearly 20 different taijutsu styles. He specializes in only taijutsu. I will assign him to instruct you for a year. After that you are on your own. Naruto smiled and waited for the man to come in, as the Kazekage sent someone after him. After around 10 minutes a very tall man walked in, almost lazily, and asked, where's the gaki that I have to train? He looked down and noticed the blonde brat. Ah, so this is the brat I'm going to train. What is your name, kid? Uzumaki Naruto, Naruto answered in a fake pleasant voice. So you have manners, That's good. Let's head out to the training fields. It's time to have fun, said Imo Ri-sensei with a pleasant smile on his face. Jumping across rooftops, they finally landed in the training district. Imori began to speak, let us see now, you don't seem like the defensive type, so those styles are out. You are going to get tall it seems, so taijutsus based on short arm length are out. Naruto kept looking at his sensei quizzically, wondering what he was doing. Ah, here is the style I will teach you. I am going to teach you a style called Repkin. This style is based on speed and strength. It is meant for people with high stamina. Naruto looked giddy at this, and could not wait to get started. I do not expect you to master this fast, but this is going to be fun, okay? Now do you have weights and do you run laps? Naruto thought for a moment and replied, yes I have weights, around 45 pounds. Which is twice my weight. I run around 20 laps a day. Imori-sensei smiled and said, alrighty then, you are going to find this fun. I want you to punch this log 1000 times and then kick it 1000 times. Switching between arms and legs. I also want you to run 40 laps after this. Once this is complete, come see me. Go have fun. Naruto paled and said, you call that fun? Imori simply said, yes. Naruto fell down from the simplicity of the statement with a sweat drop. He got back up and began to do the fun tasks set at hand for him. So Naruto began to punch and kick the log 1,000 times, each with each leg or arm. This took him nearly all day, and once complete he was dead tired. While doing this, he played chess with the Kyuubi in his mind, consistently losing to him. After the 40 laps were complete, he collapsed in front of Imori-sensei. Imori looked up from his bird watching and asked, "You are done? Good. Now it is time to learn the katas for this taijutsu style." Naruto sighed and got up, ready to learn the katas. Imori-sensei went through each kata and explained to him how they worked, and showed him how they worked as well. Most katas were based off large animals like the bear stance, the tiger stance and the wolf stance. Naruto soaked up this information like a sponge in a pond. At the end of the day, his sensei sent him home, to begin the next day. The next day Naruto would do the same exercises with Imori-sensei. He would try and spar with him using only taijutsu and lose every time. Even thought he was going easy on the fighting on Naruto. After the training, Imori-sensei would leave to go home calling it a day. Naruto on the other hand would start training ninjutsu with Kyuubi. "Alright Fuzzy, what ninjutsu am I going to learn today?" "You will not be learning a new one every day. But luckily today is a new jutsu day. I am going to teach you a Suiten jutsu called Suiten, Mizutama water style, water bullet. This jutsu is basically like the Kaiten jutsu you know, only it's water. Now go ahead and try it out." Naruto got the hand seals flashed to his mind and he walked over to the pond. He knew he was definitely not good enough to get water out of the air. "Perform the correct hand seals," he called out, "Suiten, Mizutama." Nothing came out. Naruto was flabbergasted. Why the hell did it not work? "That's odd, you should be good at water jutsus since I am in here. Try it again Kit." Naruto tried again and got the same results. No water came out or feeling of chakra. This is getting ridiculous. Why can't I do this simple Suiten jutsu? Let me think Kit. The Kyuubi pondered for a bit. He did some researching of Naruto's soul and noticed something. "Naruto, your natural element is fire. You will be unable to perform water jutsus, while you will be able to perform with these Kaiten jutsus. Instead of trying to learn this jutsu, I will teach you a wind jutsu. It is called Fuden, Hitofuki Tama wind element, gust bullet. T.S. jutsu will fire a compressed air bullet at the enemy, much like the Kaiten jutsu you already know. Try it out." Naruto grumbled at not being able to do the Suiten jutsu. He got the hand seals flashed for this jutsu and began sealing. Pulling compressed air into his lungs he blew out using chakra, while aiming at the tree. The ball of wind pushed out of him and caused the tree to lose its bark as well as dig a hole. "Aw man, I want to blast the tree in half." "Do not worry Kit, when you get as strong as the other flesh bags, you will be able to blast through 10 sets of trees with it. Keep practicing with it as much as you can." Naruto nodded and began practicing it while running. At the end of the day he went home exhausted and happy. Over the year, Naruto had gotten proficient in his taijutsu style, Repkin. He was by no means a master, but he could hold his own. He practiced this every day as much as he could. He also got a nice little growth spurt. This caused him to be able to hold a katana now. Imori-sensei was quite proud of him, though he hated to call insane taijutsu fun like his sensei had. He and Gaara had become quite good friends. They would be seen sparring with each other as well as talking and chatting. Naruto had learned a few jutsu over the year, bringing his arsenal of jutsus up to 9. Both Gaara and Naruto joined the academy this year. Gaara was at the top of class right now, with Naruto playing the sneaky one and going for the middle. He had only put on the act of an average student, when in reality he was as strong as Gaara, if not stronger. Naruto not iced that many clans had their children going to the academy this year, like the Hirajiga clan. Right now our 7-year-old boy was heading to the Cage Tower. He was going to demand a Kenjutsu trainer while he was in the academy. On his way to the Cage Tower, he overheard some interesting rumors. "Did you hear that some clan got eliminated in Konoha?" asked a villager. "Yay, Uchihas I believe. Killed by one of their own. Left one alive too, poor kid must feel lonely." Naruto heard that as he was passing by. "Some rumors, I sure am glad I was not in Konoha during that. Would have been hectic." Naruto finally made it to the cage tower. Feeling a bit of déjà vu, he climbed the stairs again to reach the office. This time around he set up an appointment early, so he did not have to wait for the cage to not be busy. Walking in the doors, he saw the cage sitting in his chair, waiting for him to come. "Hey Cage-sama, I am in need of a kenjutsu trainer. Do you have one that I could use during the academy? Please, I could really use this. After that year of taijutsu training, I've been getting a bit bored." The cage looked down at Naruto and began to speak. "Yes, I know exactly someone that could help you just fine. He is one of our top Anbu kenjutsu masters. You will refer to him as Silent. Obviously, that is his code name." The second the name was said, a tall wolf-masked Anbu entered the room. He had 2 swords on his side, each within easy drawing speeds. He was wearing a completely black cloak. "Must be hot in there, would hate to have to wear that." The man looked down at Naruto and replied, "Naruto-san, I will be your kenjutsu sensei. You may call me sensei or Silent." Silent threw a wooden sword at Naruto. "We are going to practice using this first. We will be training after your classes at the academy every day. Follow me." Naruto followed the man and could not wait to get started. Using a katana is something he has always dreamed of. Mastery. The use of it is something that would be well treasured in the shinobi world. Jumping of the wall that separated the districts, he finally arrived at the correct training area as his sensei was already there. "You are going to do 1000 slashes, dabs and strikes at this log." Naruto groaned at having a repeat from taijutsu training. He gripped the sword and began to strike. He was interrupted though when his sensei stopped him and said, "You are holding the sword wrong. Please, this is how it is done." Silent showed him the correct grip by readjusting his hands. Naruto was glad that his grip was corrected and began the assignment again. After a while he eventually completed it. "That is good, Naruto. Now it is time to have a duel." "Nani? I don't know any styles yet." His sensei looked down at Naruto while radiating a bit of killer intent and barked out, "There is no correct style. You will learn your own, create your own." He seemed to clam down somewhat after he noticed Naruto with a wide-eyed scared look on his face. "We will duel until you are able to land a hit on me. Once you are able to land a hit on me, I will reward you greatly," said Silent calmly. The 2 shinobi began the duel at very fast speeds. Naruto was glad that he had speed training from taijutsu. Silent grabbed a wooden sword from his belt and began to assault Naruto. In a quick session Naruto was already hit a dozen times and was on the ground in pain. "That was pathetic, Naruto. Get up and do it again." Naruto complied and got up with his sword and began to assault his sensei. With rapid slashes and strikes, he tried to hit his sensei to no avail. He blocked a few hits from his sensei, but was taken down shortly after. "Again, that was pathetic. We will be doing this until you are 20 if you keep up this rate." Naruto grumbled and got back up, deciding to keep his cool. "Getting angry will not help me here." He thought about waiting for him to attack. When he saw the attack coming he quickly blocked the attack, slid off the block and nearly got his sensei. He forgot that his sensei knew how to dodge though. Naruto went into the assault switching between high and low attacks. His sensei blocked them all, and hit him once in the head, knocking him to the ground. Naruto determinedly got back up and readied his sword. Silent began to swift into an attack with amazing agility. With a sickening strike, he slashed at Naruto only to find it blocked by the wooden blade. Naruto had turned his blade backwards, along his arm with the sharp edge out to block the blow. Quickly switching it back he caused his sensei to stumble backwards a few steps. This caused for a quick dab into his sensei's gut. Unfortunately he missed as his sensei quickly recovered and back-slashed him in the neck, effectively knocking him to the ground. "That is enough for today. We will continue this type of training tomorrow." Naruto nodded and watched as his sensei just simply disappeared from view. Naruto widened his eyes at the lack of smoke and questioned the Kyuubi, "Am I ever gonna be able to do that?" "You will be able to do that once your chakra control is at top notch." "Hey, is today jutsu day? I would like to learn a jutsu." Let me think on it. "Yay, I guess today can be jutsu day." "Yata. I can't wait. What jutsu am I gonna learn?" "I am going to teach you an important Doden jutsu that actually works." In the sand, Naruto listened intently to the lecture. It is called Doten, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu. This jutsu causes the ninja to be buried underground using his chakra. You can then move freely inside the ground, as if you were outside. Be warned that it takes chakra to travel underground. Naruto walked over to the sandy part of the training area. Since the training area is actually an oasis, it has grass. He got flashed the seals in his band and performed them while calling out, Doten, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu. He felt himself being sucked underground. He opened his eyes and saw just sand with some dirt, lots of it. After getting used to the feeling of being underground, he ran about 30 feet and came back up using the ram seal. Wow, Kyuubi, that was awesome. This jutsu is useful sneaking. I will find many uses for this jutsu, that is for sure. Well kid, since you learned anther flesh bag jutsu, it is time to go home. Naruto nodded and went home. After arriving home, he went inside and locked the door. After a quick shower, he got into his pajamas and crawled into bed, falling into a nice sleep. Naruto was sitting in the classroom, waiting for the genin teams to be called out. It had been 5 years since he started his kenjutsu training, and his sensei had stopped training him since he was 10. He got his first real katana as a gift from Silent. The katana was a black blade with a dark red hilt. It was sheathed in a black sheath, which was connected to his waist for fast drawing. He and Gaara had many spars over the years. They would practice new ninjutsu on each other. Naruto would have taijutsu fights against Gaara's shield. Usually losing, Naruto would attempt to break through his shield to actually harm him. Gaara rarely got harmed thanks to the shield. Naruto had also become quite the battle strategist when he was in fights. He would actually think out plans, carry them out, and create counter-attacks when needed. He did not just blindly rush in there or have the Kyuubi help him out in battle. The Kyuubi had finally taught him to harness his chakra. While using it, he would turn into a half-demon-like form with red eyes, claws and darkened whisker marks. Naruto had long thrown away the masks, opting to wear just blue cargo pants with a black long-sleeve shirt and a dark red vest. His high-8 was tied to his right arm, proudly showing the Suna symbol. He had a few interesting jutsus he could use while in the Kyuubi form. It was more like a bloodline, as he did not need to call out a jutsu name to use them. He also learned a variety of jutsus from the Kyuubi. He grew a major liking for using Kaden jutsus, but he also loved the destruction of Doten jutsus. Genjutsu was a subject that he tried to convince the Kyuubi to learn, but once he attempted one, it failed spectacularly. One time, he was trying to cast a genjutsu that would cause people to see their worst nightmare. Unfortunately, it ended up backfiring and he saw his own nightmare. After that debacle, he never tried to use genjutsu again. Naruto brought back his attention on the sensei of this class, Ikasu. Alright class, you are all no full-fledged genin. I am going to announce the teams and your Junin sensei. Please be patient. Team 1 consists of Ikasoru Amy. Ikasu droned on and Naruto decided to tune him out until he heard his name and the names of other important clan members. Eventually he caught a clan member name being called out. Team 5 consists of Hirajiga Kuya, Haruko Mina and Michiro Riku. Your Junin sensei is Taru Hayate. Please go to room 211 to await your sensei after the teams are all picked, said Ikasu in a boorish voice. Naruto glanced at the people of whose names were called. Kuya was from the Hirajiga clan, which uses the Fuikaigen taijutsu style. He was a small boy with gray eyes and brown hair that tied back into a ponytail. His face was fairly roundish, adding to the cuteness that his fan club have adored. Sadly, the boy had a very large group of fangirls. He was completely dressed in a beige outfit, making him look unnoticed and boring. Mina was from the Haruko clan, which uses glass jutsus. She had dull white hair that was in a fairly short style. Like everyone from that clan, she had green eyes. She wore the typical Haruko outfit, which was a dark blue mesh shirt over a light yellow short-sleeved shirt with black pants. She was a fairly social person and quite good using her family's jutsus. Riku was a tall boy that came from a non-shinobi clan. He had black hair that was short and spiky with brown eyes. This boy was Kansi, Dured to be talented and finished third in the class despite being from a non-shinobi family. He wore a deep green top with a dark green cargo pants. Everyone knew that his favorite color was green. He was quite the insane person, loving to train as much as Imori-sensei did. Team 6 consists of Jago Kami. Naruto again tuned out the voice of his sensei. Eventually he caught the name of his friend Gaara. Team 8 consists of Soryu Gaara, Uzumaki Naruto and Namika Yasumi. Naruto flashed his eyes at Gaara, happy that he was on his team. He flashed his eyes at the girl he knew to be Yasumi. She was the first ninja coming from her family and was considered dead last in the ninja academy. Gaara was rookie of the year for this group. He knew that this girl may be a liability if they did not receive a good teacher. Her face was quite oval and a bit shapely, bringing out some cuteness. Sadly, she had a small mouth and was teased for it. She had purple hair that was straight going down her face with dark blue eyes. Currently she was wearing a white top with black cargo pants. Your Junin sensei is Soraru Genma. Please go to room 215 to meet with your sensei after all the teams are picked. Tay. 9. Naruto again tuned this out, but he quickly had to retune his ears back to his sensei. Team 10 consists of Kikarushi Taku, Reizuka Neko and Shikoro Meiji. Your Junin sensei is Baruni Susum. Please go to room 216 to meet with your sensei after all the teams are picked. Taku was a medium-built boy from the Temperature Control clan. He had light brown hair that spiked up in literally all directions with a medium length. He had hazel eyes, which curved into an oval, rather than a circle. He was a master with his family's jutsus and was quite good with using wind ninjutsu, as far as Naruto knew. Taku was the silent type, only talking when needed. Neko was a short girl from the Reizuka clan. She had dark red hair that seemed to go everywhere with blue eyes shaped like a cat. Her ears were slightly pointy to show that her hearing was superb. She wore a very dark purple hooded sweatshirt with black pants. She had a very rambunctious personality and was easily the most social able of them all. She was also a bit mean though, as well as cocky. Meiji was from the Mirage Jutsu clan. He had long black hair with piercing black eyes. He was very proficient with using his family's jutsus as well as other jutsus. He wore a black mesh shirt with white shorts. He had his clan symbol, which was a hazy tree, on the back of his green overshirt. He was also considered the genius of the class but was physically weak. He was very lazy when it came to physical work. Well class, those are all the teams. Please go to your rooms now and wait for your team, said Ikasu sensei. Naruto and Gaara both grinned at each other and walked out the door with a Yasumi straggling behind. All three of them entered room 215 and only had to wait 2 minutes before their sensei arrived. Soraru Genma was dressed in the traditional Junin vest with dark red cargo pants. He had a black shirt under the vest. His hair was a dull gray color that seemed to spike up in literally every direction. His height was to his forehead, worn in the traditional way. Yo, I am your sensei Soraru Genma. You may call me Genma sensei. Please follow me to the roof of the academy so we can introduce each other. The three genin followed their sensei to the top of the academy and waited for him to speak. All right kids, I would like to hear your name, hobbies, likes and dislikes as well as your dream. I am going to start with you Blondie, he said while pointing at Naruto, nearly touching him. Naruto grinned and said, my name is not Blondie, it is Uzumaki Naruto. My hobby is to train and spar with my friend Gaara. I like to practice my kenjutsu style and watch the sunset in the middle of the desert. My dislikes are people that hate others for no reason and arrogant assholes. My dream is to eventually lead this village in all its glory. Genma nodded and thought to himself, good goal he has. He also seems to be motivated and not as dumb as the academy says so. Alrighty then, you're up next Panda Boy, Genma said while pointing at Gaara. Gaara glared at his sensei and said, my name is Soryu Gaara. My hobbies are none of your business and my likes are training and sparring with my friend Naruto as well as this village. My dislikes are just people who act like assholes. My dream is also none of your business. Genma stared at the kid as if he was insane for having that goal and thought to himself, wish he told me his goal. Glad he doesn't hate his village either. After his uncle tried to kill him I thought he was going to become insane. Now then, you are next, the one with the purple hair, Jay. NMA sensei said while pointing to Yasumi. Yasumi looked at him with a small smile and said, my name is Namika Yasumi. My hobbies include gardening and training. I like to gossip with my friends and train as well. My dislikes are boys who think they are all that and I hate my rival, Riku. My dream is to become a good ninja so my family can get out of poverty. Naruto looked at the girl for having a nice dream. But Genma looked at her for a different reason. I know the reasons behind her goal. Her mother is all she has left and she is sick. I wouldn't be surprised if she wants to become a medic nin once she realizes they exist. Wonder why she hates that kid though. Genma smiled and said, all of you are unique individuals. Now that we know each other, I am going to tell you about the Val training that you need to well survive to become my genin team. Let me tell you that I have never passed a genin team in my life. All three genin started at him with shocked looks on their faces. Yasumi then asked, Anyo, sensei. What is this survival training going to be made up of? Genma smiled at her and said, report to training area 8 at 6 in the morning. Better eat breakfast, otherwise you will starve. I will explain your exam then. Later for now. Genma puffed away and left three shocked genin. One by one the three genin left to their respective homes, thinking about what tomorrow may bring. Naruto woke up at 5 in the morning. He decided to start packing his bag. Walking over to his bag he struck up a conversation with the Kyuubi. Hey Fuzzy, what should I bring with me to this survival exam? Should I bring food, water, clothing? The Kyuubi thought for a moment and replied back, well kid, I suggest you start sealing up some food, water and clothing. You never know what a survival exam may entail. Naruto agreed and grabbed some scrolls. Walking into the kitchen, he took a muffin and started to munch on it. While doing this he crated some muffins, instant ramen, fruits and vegetables into a single crate. He labeled that scroll food. Taking a jug from the cupboard, he filled it with water and sealed into the scroll labeled water. He walked back into his bedroom and packed about 2 outfits into another crate and sealed that into the scroll that was labeled clothing. Naruto took a shower after packing and got dressed. He walked out the door and locked it. Hoppin' G onto the roofs and he asked the Kyuubi to increase his weight some and back to jump as fast as he could to training area 8. In another part of town, Gaara had woken up in his family's home. His fat her was already at work while his brother and sister were still sleeping. Gaara packing only light, basic shinobi gear, some food and a canteen of water. He took a quick shower and got dressed. Deciding to chat with the Shukaku. Gaara began to speak, hey Shukaku, what do you think this survival exam is going to be made up of? It won't have sand castles sadly. I love sand castles. They are the best things ever. Hopefully we are in the desert, you can help me make sand castles then. Gaara abruptly blocked his thoughts from the Shukaku but realized he had a point. We may be stuck into the desert. I will pack a little more water. I am starting to hate sand castles though, damn demon talks about them non-stop. Yasumi had gotten home to her mother already asleep. When Yasumi woke up she noticed that her mother was awake and decided to tell her the good news. Mother look, I have become a shinobi, she said pointing to her high 8 on her head. I have finally graduated. I will make you proud mother. I will find a way to help you get better and bring our family out of poverty. Her mother looked up at her and told her in a weak voice, that's good Yasumi. You do your mother proud. There's no reason to worry over me. Go get ready for your cough exam. Yasumi looked on sadly at her mother and did what she was told. She muttered under her breath, I will not stop worrying over you mama. I will find a cure for your disease. Yasumi took a quick shower and got dressed. She took only shinobi gear and left to go beat with her sensei via walking. She was thinking about her two teammates, Gaara and Naruto. She knew that they were friends and Gaara was Rookie of the Year, considered a prodigy. Naruto on the other hand was enigma to her. He seemed so mysterious every year because he did average on everything. Literally everything. It confused her because she had seen him spar with Gaara and was actually able to hit him. The spar stopped suddenly though and they left, while looking directly at her. She shuddered when she remembered that. She also thought about the survival exam that her sensei had talked about. She put on one big grin thinking about her sensei, it was nice to have one finally. I hope this exam is easy. I hope I don't fail. I don't wanna go back to the academy. I need to help my mother and become strong. She started to run as fast as she could to training area 8. She was pretty fast too as she had taken to running recently in the last year to help training. At training area 8, Genma was waiting for his students to show up. He knew that his team was Talon. TED this year and hoped they would pass his hella hard exam. The first person to show up was Naruto. Gaara showed up only minute later and 10 minutes later Yasumi finally showed up. He checked his watch and noticed all three were on time. Alright kids, I want you tie yourselves together with each other with this rope. I also want you blindfold yourself. He handed them the ropes and blindfolds and watched them put them on. Naruto began to ask, Sensei, why do we need to do this? What are we going to do? Well Naruto, I will hold the end of the rope. I want you guys to follow me when you feel a tug. Genma began to run at a slow pace for a Junin so that his genin could keep up. He led them out of the village and into the desert, and off the path. Naruto felt the wind wheeze by him and felt the sand under his feet. He knew that they were going out into the desert and was thankful that he brought water and other things. Gaara felt the desert under his feet and felt the Shukaku get happy at the feel of the desert. That and he kept screaming sand castles in his mind. He was thankful that he brought some food and water. He hoped that his teammates had thought of the same thing. Yasumi on the other hand felt scared. She could feel the desert under her feet and was panting slightly. She was astonished at the speed Naruto, Gaara and her sensei could travel at. She really wished she had brought food and water with her. She only hoped that her teammates had done what she did not. He picked up the pace and made sure he wasn't dragging his genin. He ran up to a canyon in the desert and ran up a mesa using chakra. He was going up so fast that the genins did not even feel the tug from going up. Once up he took off the blindfolds and unbounded them from the ropes. The three genin looked around and looked at their sensei with bewildered looks. Yasumi asked her sensei in a panicky voice saying, "Why are we in the middle of nowhere, sensei?" Genma chuckled and answered, "This is your test. You are to get back to Sunagakure in 7 days. I wish you luck, bye-bye now." The three genin watched as their sensei puffed away. Sweat dropping at the sudden disappearance of their sensei, Ey sat down on the mesa and Naruto asked his team, "What now?" Gaara answered, as he was considered the smartest of their age, "Well, first we get down from this big hunk of rock. We have no idea which way to go either, so we will have to figure this out. Now we must walk down this mesa so we can get to the sandy desert." Both Naruto and Gaara walked over to the ledge, but they noticed that their teammate did not walk with them. Naruto then asked, Yasumi, why are you not coming?" Yasumi looked embarrassed and said, "I don't know how to walk down walls. Can you teach me?" Naruto and Gaara just stared at her until Gaara said, "Sure. Now you need force chakra to your feet, while balancing it out so you don't smash the rock. Too little you fall off, too much and you smash the rock and fall off." Yasumi nodded and turned around to walk up the rock. She made it about halfway up before she fell and landed on her feet. She got determined again and ran at the rock, running all the way up to the top on her second try. "Hey guys, I did it. Yay." Both Naruto and Gaara were a bit shocked that she was able to do it so fast. Naruto thought to himself that she may have had little chakra or something. They would know after a while. "Good job Yasumi. Come on down so that we can get off this hunk of rock," yelled Naruto. Yasumi ran back down, joined her teammates. All three of them went to the ledge and ran down the cliff using chakra. Once at the bottom, the three genin sat around a little circle and began to discuss on how to proceed. Naruto had noticed that Yasumi was panting somewhat and aimed to the conclusion that she had low chakra reserves. "Does anyone know which direction the sea is from here?" asked Naruto. Yasumi answered no to the question, but Gaara gave it some thought. "When I was training I came out to this spot before to work on sand control. I know for a fact that the sea is to the west of us. Let's head that direction." Both Naruto and Yasumi agreed and all three of them spirited to the west. Around the evening sun the three of them managed to reach the sea. "Thank God we found the sea. I would have really hated to be lost in the freaking desert," sighed out Yasumi. Both Naruto and Gaara agreed with her. They followed the coast line for a while until around sunset. Deciding to set up camp, the three of them built a small fire and began to cook the instant ramen that Naruto had brought. Yasumi was very glad that her teammate had the forethought to bring food with him. While munching on their food, the three of them began to talk about guard duty. "All right Yasumi, you will take the first round. At 11 wake up Gaara and have him watch the camp. At 2 a.m. please wake me up Gaara and I will finish up the round and wake all you up at 6 to get a move on." "Agreed," asked Naruto. Both Gaara and Yasumi agreed with him. Naruto and Gaara got into their sleeping bags to avoid the cold desert night and left Yasumi to guard. While they were sleeping, Yasumi was thinking about the fact that she seemed useless to her team. She didn't even know wall walking yet. She vowed to herself to learn some jutsus from her teammates and even her sensei. She would vow to herself to get the library. I won't be useless anymore, I hate being useless. She watched a little scorpion go by and she pierced it with her kunai. After a while playing with the little scorpions she noticed it was 11 p.m. and woke up Gaara. Once Gaara was awake she went into her own purple sleeping bag and fell asleep. Gaara just sat there for the 3 hours and stared watching carefully. He was also being annoyed in his head by Shukaku about making sand castles to pass the time. He learned to block this out luckily enough. Soon enough it was time to wake up Naruto and get back to sleep. Naruto on guard duty was exciting for him. He would practice his taijutsu katas while watching out for things. After around an hour he started to notice a good number of little scorpions running by. Within 20 minutes he understood why. About a mile in front of him and moving at high speeds, 3 giant scorpions were moving in towards them. Naruto widened his eyes and screamed, "Get your asses up, we have company." Both Yasumi and Gaara jumped up out of their sleeping bags with kunai in hands. They stared at what Naruto saw and Gaara shivered a bit at the size of those monster scorpions. Yasumi just yelled out, "Holy shit, those things are huge." Gaara and Naruto rolled their eyes at the obvious that she had pointed out. Gaara began to get prepared by getting sand under his control, ready to defend and strike at will. Yasumi was visibly scared. She had no jutsus and she knew it. She pulled out a kunai and hoped that it would be enough. In what seemed like minutes the scorpions were upon them. Naruto ran to the side, attracted one scorpion while running he formed some hand seals and turned around calling out, "Kaden, Hausenka no Jutsu." Around a dozen fireballs were spitted at the scorpion. The scorpion dodged like a pro and began to arm its stinger. Within a flash Naruto used Shunshin no Jutsu and drew his sword chopping off the tail of the scorpion. The scorpion let out a wild wail and charged at Naruto with its stingers in place. Quickly jetting to the side, Naruto formed the seals for a high-powered jutsu and called out, "Kaden, Gukaku no Jutsu." A giant fireball was hurled at the scorpion. It had no time because as soon it turned around, it got roosted by Naruto's big fireball. Gaara had an easier time with his scorpion. He ran to the north at high speeds and started to clamp his hands at the scorpion while saying, "Sabaku Susu." Every time he clamped his hands down sand would rush at the enemy and cling to it. Eventually he caught the scorpion in his sand. With a sadistic grin he watched in glee as he clamped his hand down as the scorpion screamed in agony as it was squeezed from the jutsu. Blood and scorpion parts shattered everywhere as the scorpion was crushed. Yasumi on the other hand was having a hard time. She was trying to throw kunai at the eyes while dodging and was having a hard time doing so. She was already nipped in the leg by the claw of the scorpion and was bleeding badly at the leg. Luckily for her, Naruto had come over to assist her. "Yasumi, I want you to throw as many kunai as you can at its face. While doing this I will go in for the kill." Yasumi nodded and started doing what she said. She hurled kunai at the scorpion with all her might. She actually managed to lodge one in its eye and watched as the blood gushed out. Yasumi widened her eyes though as she saw a flash of someone and Naruto was in front of her with a grin on his face and his katana was out. When she looked back at the scorpion, she watched in amazement as the scorpion fell apart in 2 pieces. "You did that? Wow, amazing. How?" Naruto grinned and said, "Well, I just cut it in half with my katana going as fast as I could." Yasumi squealed in delight and quickly hugged Naruto as fast as she could. This caused him to blush and when she noticed him blush, she blushed as well. Naruto looked at her bloody leg and said, "Here, let me wrap your leg up." He proceeded to apply tape to her ratchet up leg but she blushed while he did it. "Why am I blushing? I do not like him." Gaara walked over to the two blushing and shook his head at the stupid displays of romantic affection. Once they were done, Naruto said, "Let's head back to Sunagakure and pass this test." Naruto and Yasumi nodded and ran as fast as they could with Gaara. After around 2 hours of running they finally met with the wall of the village. Running alongside they met up with the gate in 10 minutes. Walking in the gate, All three were glad that they made it. They heard a clapping sound behind them and turned around. Standing there was their sensei clapping with a grin on his face. Yo, I was watching you guys out there, you did a good job and performed good teamwork to survive this exam. Congratulations. You all pass. Naruto got a big grin on his face and gave Genma sensei the thumbs up. Gaara got a small smirk on his face and looked up at the sky. Yasumi got teary eyes from being so happy and screamed, Yata. Now, report to Training Area 8 tomorrow for some training and your first D-ranked mission. I hope you guys get a good night's sleep. Dismissed. That's it for today, I will stop here. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you please consider subscribe and make sure to hit that like button, share with your friends, and don't forget to check out author of this story. Details in description.